All of these solutions have taken us 6 months to come up with. We thought about these, we discussed these together, we discussed all of the issues, and we decided that these are the best solutions that would work for everyone.
Gracious and holy God, I give you thanks and praise for these young men and these young women. I give you thanks.
Being a part of the Youth Council, I have concluded that programs like this are needed in order to continue to make the voices of the youth heard, as we are the future.
This process was extremely complex. We started out with a list of 40 topics that we wanted to address within Cleveland. We had to narrow that down to 3 topics. Were youth education and awareness, were life skills, and police accountability. We decided to umbrella these topics under social awareness education. Tiara Jacobs.
Hi, I'm Sierra, I'm 16, and I'm from the Gordon Square Arts District. As members of this Youth Council, we all have our own significant voices and experiences, and the creation of this council has made our mission for change stronger as a unit. Thank you.
Shantae Arlington.
Hello, I'm Shantae. I'm 17. I'm from the Miles neighborhood. We have had officers such as commanders, lieutenants, captains, and others to come speak with us and tell us about their experience and why they decided to go in this field. It left a positive impact on us youth. Some members on the council have visited the police training academy, and they said it was a great experience and have opened their eyes up more. There are officers who take time out their day to come talk and visit students. Sometimes during some holiday time, they'll come and take students on a joyride. They'll take them, go Christmas shopping like a holiday. If most parents are not beneficial, they'll buy gifts for them. Throughout that time, officers will ask, what do you do in your spare time? Most kids or youth will be like, I will go outside and just walk with peers or mine. They'll say, why not? Why do you just do that? Because my mom works or they're not home and there's no parent supervision over them. Officers think, well, most officers, they all say that's unsafe. You need parent supervision or someone over you. So throughout that time, officers may get down and have a talk with more youth. Most youth say, I'm so glad that you're here and that you're not trying to hurt me. Then hearing the other saying that, why are you here? I hate you. So that positive relief on them saying, I'm glad that you're here, it left a great impact on their lives, such as ours. As for myself, I attend a high school that has criminal justice as a program. When I graduate, I would like to go into get my PhD in criminal justice and criminology and become a medical examiner.
Brittany Cooper.
Hi, I'm 16. I'm from
Hi, my name is Corinne and I'm 16. And at a young age, I was worried by a family member. It took me so long to tell my mom what had happened to me. But when I did, she was so loving and caring and she encouraged me to go follow the steps. So me and my mother went down to the police station and we filed a report. When we went down there, the police were so rude and disrespectful. And it honestly hurt me because I felt like I didn't mean anything to anyone. Me and my mother went down to the police station multiple days in a row. And I believe it was the 3rd day, and I was finally able to file a report. They told me between 2 to 3 weeks, someone would be in contact with us. A month and a half had been passed, no one called. So me and my mother went back down to the police station just to find out that my report was never even put in the system. Then I felt like I was nothing. I had to go home and my mother was there. She was there through every step. I called my brothers, everyone was there for me. And I feel like before a badge, before a title, we are all human and we all bleed the same. So before you put your badge and before you put your title before me, believe me that you are important just like I am important. But we all are born the exact same. We all bleed the same. We all breathe the same oxygen. You cannot put your title or your badge before being human first.
Martin Thomas.
Hi, I'm Martin Thomas. I'm 23 from the Denison area. 100% of our youth council members have experienced some form of toxic stress. and we represent only a small portion of the citizens in Cleveland that are affected by toxic stress in our youth population. Approximately $500 billion is spent every year in the United States treating, in a reactive sense, toxic stress instead of addressing it at its root causes. Toxic stress is a continuous active stress response to physical, emotional abuse or trauma that is not addressed by a support system. This response triggers a fight or flight response due to the lack of a support system. And in short, can cause a lot more issues if it continues to go untreated and not addressing it only proliferates in the community. The effects of toxic stress not only limit a person's ability to address and respond to stress, it also impairs brain development due to an overwhelming amount of physical, emotional, or mental trauma. Daily life with toxic stress is ridden with anxiety, poor stress management, and a consistent feeling of being overwhelmed. People that have experienced toxic stress are often misunderstood and ignored, even when seeking help, which creates further issues in their lives. By the way, toxic stress does not discriminate. It can affect any race or socioeconomic background, and is not limited to a set group of people. 1 in 2 people will experience some form of stress, but the underlying causes of poverty are actually really relevant in Cleveland. 36% of Cleveland, of the general population, is experiencing poverty, and child poverty is at a 52.5% rate, according to the Ohio Census in 2015 and 2016. We also know that 36% of children entering kindergarten have already experienced some form of abuse or neglect before even entering kindergarten. Their quality of life in their home and school environments also plays a major role in what they'll experience as far as toxic stress and continuous amounts of stress in their lives. 1 in 2 people, stress, if it's predictable, moderate, and controlled, can make a resilient person, but unpredictable, prolonged, and severe stress can also make a very vulnerable person. 1 in 2 people will experience some form of trauma within their lifetime. And as a result, 1 in 5 of those people will experience PTSD or develop it. Imagine the cost over time.
Ron Miller.
Hi, I'm 22 and I'm from East Cleveland. I'm about to tell you what toxic stress affects my life. Dear Cleveland, when I was a little baby boy, my mother decided to take her anger out on me by kicking me in the chest and throwing me against the walls and hit me on the side of my head with a hammer. But the person I really thank for right now is my grandmother, and I thank her for supporting me all these years, of being there, supporting me, confidence, faith, and belief, and I thank her for that. When I was growing up in high school, I really did not have no friends, and even though I do now, but if I had the youth council 25 community, I would have a better life than I have now. Thank you.
Mallory Wilkes.
Hello, I'm 18 and I'm from South Village.
Dear Cleveland, my name is Mallory and I'm a senior in high school. When I was in 7th grade, I had my very first boyfriend. People used to tell me that when you're in a relationship, you're expected to do sexual things with your partner. He wanted to do things that made me feel really uncomfortable, but since he expected them from me, I felt like I had to do them. Once he was out of my life, I got a new best friend that happened to be male. One day when we went to an amusement park, he touched me multiple times without consent. When I finally confronted him about it 5 months later, he got mad at me for not forgiving him. Stuff like this happened to me more than twice. I felt like I had no control of my own life. I even contemplated suicide at one point because I didn't learn how to deal with stuff like this. It took me 2 years to remove those people from my life. I never had sexual education classes that discussed healthy relationships with sexual violence. I had a lot of unwanted stress in my life. My friends tell me that stress is the biggest problem in their life and that it has led them to think of suicide. They feel like if they could manage their stress better, they'd be a lot happier. I relate to them in the exact same way. Contemplating suicide is something that I'm ashamed of doing and that my friends have tried hiding because no one will listen. They tell me I need to manage my stress better or relax so I don't get anxious, but they don't answer me when I ask them how can I do that. If I had a program that would help me in these areas and other areas crucial for youth, I would have benefited and the youth in the community will benefit. Thank you.
Daniel Lynch.
Hello, I'm 22 and I'm from the Ohio City neighborhood. Our youth deserve more. We deserve more. Where are we as a city if we are not meeting the needs of our most vulnerable, our youth? Why is it that we do not feel served or protected by our police? The answer is simple. Our interactions do not inspire a sense of protection and care and respect for us as people. I cannot stress this enough. It is the interactions that matter to us. We as youth do not focus on crime statistics or arrest statistics. Rather, when we see a uniform, we go on alert. We focus on how is this police officer going to treat us today. Up here, you can see a list of people aged 25 and under who have been killed by police officers in the year 2018 alone. There are over 50 names on this list. These are the Tonys, the Franks, the Chantels, the Tamirs of our city, right in front of me. As one of the older members on this council, I'm 22, I can start to see what it's like to get older and kind of forget what it's like to be 10 or 15 years old, right? Forget that youth mindset. I work in a CMSD school. Recently, one of my students was shot and was fighting for his life. I'm 22 years old. I don't know how to handle that news. I don't think you ever really know how to handle that news, right? I did the only thing I knew to do, and I talked to my friends, went to my support system to get through that difficult time. Imagine being 10 or 15 years old and hearing that your best friend, your brother, your sister, the person you share your hopes and dreams with, is shot and fighting for their lives. They would do the same thing that I would do, I feel like, right? They would meet with their friends, the local corner, or their neighborhood to meet up, at the park, and just talk about what's going on. But then they're stopped by a police officer and asked, what are you doing? Why are you here? Could you fathom being 10 or 15 years old and having to go through that? Research shows that youth are hyper-aware to fair and respectful treatment, but are less capable of self-regulating their behavior, more susceptible to giving in peer pressure, and less capable of future-oriented decision-making. Research also shows that when youth have positive interactions, they develop positive attitudes. But when they have negative interactions, they develop negative attitudes. So put these together, we have high stressful situations where youth don't know the police and the police don't know the youth. The youth feel disrespected, they're not as good at self-regulating their behavior, they lash out, and it creates a more stressful situation. Now, this might be news to me, but I'm white. I've lived on the west side all of my life, Ohio City, Old Brooklyn, West Park. But now I work in a CMSD school on the east side that doesn't have a single white student. And I can tell you from my experience as a youth, and from my experience working with youth in the high school, is that regardless of race, 10, 15-year-olds are doing the same things regardless. Acting foolish, not misbehaving in class, behaving when they want to, being interested when they want to. But research shows, despite this, that youth from distressed neighborhoods, people of color, are treated differently by police. Despite the fact that data shows that a white youth under the age of 18 is more likely to kill a police officer in this country than a black youth of the same age. Throughout this whole process, some of the most formative moments have been when we have had police officers come into our office and talk to us, and when we went to the use of force training facility, I believe this was called, and talked to police there. Something, though, I always hear in response to our questions is that police respond that I'm human too, right? These situations are stressful, they're so difficult, and that they can only sometimes handle as humans do, they make mistakes. But I'm here to say that we youth are human too. We want to be treated and respected like humans too, and we want you to get to know us as humans. Something I want to really stress is that we do not hate police. We want a relationship with police. That is why we are recommending here today that we work on that by having facilitated luncheons in 9th and 10th grades, in the 9th and 10th grade between police and youth, so that the police are getting to know the youth and have these discussions that are not being had on a daily basis.
Frank Austin.
I'm 17 from the Slavic Village neighborhood.
Tony Hoskins.
Hi, I'm 15 and I live in the Garden Valley area.
I'm a junior at Max S. Hayes High School. I'm currently Keystone President and Vice President of 11th grade, and I'm doing an internship at Liberty Ford.
I played football and basketball for my school, and I just found out that I got accepted to Cleveland School of the Arts High School.
The problem today is for youth today do not have we have classes in school for life skills, but they're not catered to youth today, such as like, they're not helping us for real life. And over the 6 months we've been working together, we came up with solutions for our problem that we need, that we see fit.
We had to come up with a program that can help us young people with problems like hers. It's a 9-month program that discusses topics that we came up with that can help us with real life situations, and the topics are money management,
Police youth interactions,
after school and summer activities,
job readiness,
stress management,
transportation options,
sexual violence and LGBTQ+,
drugs,
gender violence.
conflict resolution, and relationships. The program that we came up with helps us with self-awareness, self-confidence, independency with our youth today.
Darren Robinson.
Hi, I'm 18. I'm from Buckeye area.
Deja Wembley.
I'm Deja, I'm 18, and I grew up in the Hump area.
My name is Darren. I attend Martin Luther King High School. I'm an arts I'm provided according to the bias present between the police and the youth. Between the youth and the police. I mean, the police and the youth through interaction can help to alleviate the tension between the two groups and ameliorate their relationship.
Basically saying if we can get the youth community and the police, if we can get the police and the youth community to build better relationships and get to know each other, then we could come together and realize that we are one.
Zia Durner.
Hi, I'm 17 and I'm from college. Hi. We, the EYEJ Impact 25 Youth Council, believe the Youth Independency Discussion Series will help youth develop necessary skills and acquire necessary knowledge that schools are not currently providing. The police-youth relationship solutions include quarterly facilitated luncheons managed by the Youth Council. This will target 9th and 10th graders in Cleveland Police, along with mandatory field trips for all 9th graders to the Police Academy training managed by the Youth Council and Community Policing. This will target 9th and 10th graders. We are targeting 9th and 10th graders for our recommended solutions because we believe it will be most effective for 9th and 10th graders, and at this point it will be too late for 11th and 12th graders. Thank you. Now I'd like to welcome back Cynthia.
Chantal Brown.
Hello, I'm 17 and I'm from the east side of Cleveland.
Miranda Pryor.
Hi, I'm 17 and I'm from the east side of Cleveland.
Gerald King.
Hi, I'm Gerald. I'm 17 and I'm from Kansas.
And my name is Sophia Higginbottom, and I grew up in the Slavic Village neighborhood. Thank you, council members. 19 youth from across Cleveland. We had not previously known each other, but we all wanted to make things better for the generations to come after us.